Zoe in Lancashire says, morning, Mike. It's all right wanting to get a grip on this defence thing, but how the hell is Rachel from Accounts going to afford any of this? Well, it's a good question. Let's put it to Rear Admiral Chris Parry, former NATO commander and former Director General at the Ministry of Defence. Chris, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning, everyone.
Good to see you. It's a big day today. The spending defence review is going to be published. I mean, they've trailed it so heavily that I don't think there's going to be much in it that we don't already know. But one of the things that sticks out to me, anyway, certainly, is this money they're going to spend on building 12 submarines. I'm assuming you'll know a bit about this. I mean, that's going to take quite a while to do, isn't it?
Mike, the small print actually says they're going to increase the size of the attack submarine fleet to 12. They didn't actually say they're going to build 12.
Yeah.
So that could include the current Astutes and a few new ones. So let's wait and see till we see the text. What they have got right, I think, is the strategic context and the real urgency that needs to be put in place to actually deal with threats from Russia and China. I worked with Lord Robertson on the 1998 Defence Review, and he did a good job then. I think they've probably done a good job now. But I think you put your finger on it, and that is it affordable?
Yeah.
Because one of the big problems in 1998 is a very good review was totally hamstrung by the fact that it wasn't resourced properly. And I'm afraid to say that everything we're going to see today is jammed tomorrow. There's very little in it that actually alters Putin's calculation about whether he confronts Western Europe. If you're going to bring in these submarines by the late 2030s, I mean, Putin will be dead by then.
Well, right.
That's the point.
And that's the other thing. I mean, there's an awful lot of talk about this 3% of GDP, but as somebody said to me earlier, that's only a rise in a contribution massively if GDP actually rises. If GDP doesn't rise, it's not so much money. And they keep talking about it being an ambition now and an aim rather than an actual thing, an actual promise and a real target. And it's all in the next Parliament, which I don't believe they're going to be running.
Mike, it's a spurious benchmark anyway. It's a political slogan for everybody. You have to say, look, this is what the nation needs in terms of defence capabilities, and you actually pay what it takes.
Yeah.
That's the point. And I'm afraid to say, if you say we're going to increase defence spending to 3%, all the defence companies are going to say, yippee, great, we'll just up the prices of everything. So, there's got to be a lot of accountability. What's positive about what I've heard so far is they have committed to saying, look, the nuclear enterprise has got to get better. We're going to have new warheads, for example, for Trident and the new submarines, the Dreadnought class. We may or may not get up to 12 nuclear submarines in the order of battle. But they've also said, look, we're going to build munitions factories and they're going to produce lots of long-range missiles and drones. That reflects the new reality. Yeah. We're going to hit the cyber domain, and more laughably, they're going to introduce the Home Guard again, Dad's Army, volunteers.
Will you be signing up for that? I mean, I don't mean to be impolite, but I mean, you and I are both in the same kind of area there. I don't know whether that's going to be of much use to man or beast. It's supposed to protect nuclear facilities, right?
Mike, I think, there'll be lots of skills required. What I object to with this Home Guard idea, it's not just you and me running around with a rifle. I rather hope it's going to be you actually applying your sort of information warfare skills. That's the point. And other people saying, look, we need to have air defence for sites as well. They haven't thought it through. No. It's just a very good slogan. If you're going to do it properly, you're going to have a range of skills, not just basically Sergeant Wilson and all the others running around with rifles. It's as simple as that.
Going, oh, I say, all over the place. I mean, what about this business of growth? Because they talk about, John Healey yesterday said he was sort of trying to kill two birds with one stone, it seemed to me, that he was trying to make out that, all of this money is going to go into these munitions companies and it's going to create hundreds and thousands of jobs and it's going to make the economy grow. I mean, in theory, it sounds like it could do, but would it?
Well, it depends on profit taking, really. I mean, one of the biggest issues we have in this country is the arms manufacturers know that they are monopoly suppliers in many cases to monopoly customers, the Ministry of Defence. And it's been outrageous over decades. Even when I was serving, we always used to despair at how much stuff costs.
Right.
My experience is that unless you actually incentivise people to provide value for money, real bangs for your buck, and actually introduce penalties for them not doing it, nothing's going to happen at all. And it just becomes, basically a conspiracy against the public, as Adam Smith would say.
Yeah. So in terms of what immediate changes we see after today's announcements, doesn't sound like there's much, really.
Mike, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's rather like being in 1937 and saying, look, at some stage, 1948, 1950, we'll do something about confronting Hitler. And
Yeah.
it's not going to work. I mean, I'm looking at what we actually put into the front line, in the next 4 years, for example. Very little is the answer. There's going to be no increase in personnel. The only positive thing, it's something that's needed to come for ages, is that armed forces accommodation is going to improve.
Yeah.
Now, that's the benchmark we really need to see in the short term, because actually we've been putting our people up in dreadful conditions. This is a time, Mike, when, we have 2 battalions landing on our shores every day at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of 2 and 3 para landing in the Falklands every day.
Yeah. It is extraordinary, isn't it? Let me ask you one final question about Lord Hermer, because you and I had a little exchange on Twitter. I'd said, he's always been made to apologise by Number 10. You said he didn't apologise, because he hasn't really. He believes that good, decent people are Nazis. It's hate speech. Front page of the Telegraph today says he refused to review unduly lenient sentences given to a rapist, a paedophile, a terrorist fundraiser, rather. I mean, this guy surely has to go, doesn't he?
Well, you've got to ask, Mike, whether you and I as ordinary citizens trust the chief law officer of this country to be fair and balanced.
Yeah.
I mean, it's quite extraordinary. He has not apologised for calling people who vote Tory or Reform Nazis. Now, I've actually fought against a fascist regime, and by implication, he's calling me a Nazi. I mean, for heaven's sake, how can I get a fair trial in this country if I'm ever brought to court when he's saying things like that?
Right. And when it's very clear that he has a different set of rules when it comes to people like Lucy Connolly, who he obviously did not wish to refer for having a too seriously long sentence, and he obviously had his fingerprints all over it.
Mike, there's the Nolan principles for conducting yourself in public life. I'd like to see how Lord Hermer actually matches up against those. When you allow your own political activist views to interfere with the administration of justice in this country, we are on the road to ruin when people can't trust it. We're back in the Middle Ages, if that's the case.
Yeah, absolutely right. Great to talk to you. Rear Admiral Chris Parry, making common sense as ever.